Hello and welcome to Beyond the Headlines. I'm Jane Gogodas. This week, we take a bite of the apple business and speak to the vendors.
For a country that does not produce apples, it is astonishing to find apples in bags everywhere one goes.
People are not used to the new prices. In the past, we would sell one apple between 100 and 200 kwacha, but now 500 kwacha is the cheapest price.
Business zimene imathandauza kuti pa moyo wanga zimene ndimafuna ndizizipeza.
Kupanga business faja kuchepekedwa kwa mipamba yathu koma sindoti business loti fe takunena kuti tapanga muzinthu zanzeru ya.
We also take a trip to Nkhoma in Lilongwe to meet a man who stopped using firewood and instead uses biogas.
The gas generated will last 3 days, and to keep the inflows, they will be back with new inflows of liquid dung.
So lovely having you there. Thanks for joining us, and once again, welcome. Now, Malawi is not an apple-producing nation, yet apples are everywhere in supermarkets and almost in all the street corners of our cities. What is believed is homegrown is a stunted apple with a bitter taste, and with the influx of these delicious apples, the bitter Malawian apple can hardly stand the competition. It is estimated that Malawi imports 1 million tons of apples from South Africa every year. So, what does the constant supply of apples in the country entail? And what does it mean to local vendors? Well, Beatrice Mwape went around finding out about the crunching apple business.
For a country that does not produce apples, it is astonishing to find apples in bags everywhere one goes. The streets are not short of this Adam and Eve fruit, and many vendors are surviving on its sales. For a start, the fruit is readily available, and so is the demand for it. These are some of them in the apple business, starting with Dixon Osman, a father of 5 who is originally from Cholo. He started vending apples some 15 years ago. He says with the apple business, he manages to take care of his family.
Business zimene imathandauza kuti pa moyo wanga zimene ndimafuna ndizizipeza mosavuta.
This business helps me to get my everyday needs easily. My extended and immediate family benefit from the proceeds of the apple business. The good thing is if a person has proper plans, benefits from it. For example, I have achieved things I wouldn't have if it wasn't for this business. I have big plans. It is very easy to access the apples. Of course, they're not produced in the country and they are from South Africa. But because of good connections, it was not difficult to access them. Mostly, it's from those who operate between South Africa and Malawi. In a day, I sell about 2 cartons. It just depends on the odds of the day.
Unlike Dixon, Precious Chingwanda from Chiradzulu has been in this apple business for 13 years. His life and that of his wife and 2 children is entirely dependent on selling apples.
This business brings joy to me. It is the source of my livelihood. I take care of my relatives and family through this business. As of now, I haven't achieved much, but plans are in the pipeline. Currently, I'm just proud that I'm able to find the most basic needs like rentals, food and fees for my children. There are no real estimates of how many crates I sell on a monthly basis, but on a day I sell at least a carton and a half. We order them here, and the process is not difficult. We have suppliers.
Gift Muhara is another vendor who sells apples at the Lilongwe market. He has been doing this for about 8 years now. Gift says market trends make the growth of the business unpredictable. He says there are so many apple vendors that finishing selling a carton of between 100 and 160 apples is a real hassle.
At least I have hope because I get my everyday need through this business. I find food, clothing, and I take care of my relatives too. Of course, I have never achieved anything big. It is on hand-to-mouth basis. I don't order many cartons at the moment, and the market trends are really difficult. People are not used to the new prices. In the past, we would sell one apple between 100 and 200 kwacha, but now 500 kwacha is the cheapest price and 700 kwacha is the highest price. It is very different from how it used to be.
700 ndi ma 500 anthu akumavuta kuti agule nditi magulisa kukandama konyenyeka kwambiri kuelekeza ndi mbuyo mbele kagulisira.
For Prince Konje, it's all about hand to mouth. He does the business to keep himself afloat. Although the apple business has high prospects, he is failing to make headways because he has no capital.
I just do this business because I like capital. Personally, I feel like you cannot do much with it. The challenge is capital at the moment, but it is easy to get the apples. Sometimes we get them on loan and pay back in installments. As of now, it is difficult to finish a box in a day. Personally, I haven't benefited much. That is the case, mostly because we trade in prohibited places. It is based on day-to-day survival.
There are about 20 suppliers of apples in Lilongwe alone, one of them being this man, Jimmy Jam. Jam says one supplier imports at least 4 to 6 pallets of apples per bus. Each pallet has about 20 cartons. He says being perishable goods, transportation is a challenge. Jam says he comes here to offload the apples at least twice a week. For him, the business is very lucrative, but there are issues which need to be looked into. He starts by explaining the processes they go through for Malawians to easily access the fruit.
We just go to South Africa and we buy it from the field market, whereby we call it seeded deep. It's a bigger market for fruits there in Joburg. From there, when we buy it, we take it to the buses, sometimes to the trucks. When we load there, it takes us maybe 2 to 4 days to reach here in Malawi. When you're in South Africa, there is a wider choice for you. Because these goods, some they are export, some they are for local consumption there in South Africa. So mainly, we used to buy for export, which are the best quality. But we still have the challenges because these things, they're supposed to be moving in a refrigerated trucks. Apples here in Malawi can be grown. In Rumpi there is apples there, but the quality is different from South Africa. There is that possibility that Malawi can grow apples, provided that the government maybe create a very good condition for the farmers to grow these things. The grapes, there is another one farmer from Rumpi. That guy used to come and bring supply to us. We used to sell here the grapes. And there are also another guy from Rumpi as well, used to bring these apples. Because these apples which we are selling, from the months of November, December to January, it's off season. So here in Malawi, we used to buy from Rumpi sometimes to supply the local market here in Malawi. So there is that possibility that in Malawi we can do it.
As small as an apple looks, it is clear that for Malawi there is a lot of effort put to have the fruit in the country, and it is contributing significantly to those who are in the business. A report by Nkhoma, an American data technology company, indicates that as of 2022, Malawi's production of apples was at 3,162 metric tons, up from 3,161 tons in 2021. But this figure is nothing to 1 million tons that Malawi imported from South Africa in 2021, according to another report by World Integrated Trade Solution and the World Bank. The local production levels are simply a drop in the ocean of imports. With apple business sustaining a lot of lives in Malawi, it is obvious that imports are to continue for some years up until the country substantially increases production of its homegrown apples, and that would take serious agricultural investment. Beatrice Mwabe for Beyond the Headlines.
With low electricity penetration in Malawi, communities mostly depend on wood fuel in the form of charcoal and firewood for their energy needs like cooking. It's obvious that the ever-growing demand and dependence of these fuels has led to massive forest degradation. The country has lost much of its woodlands, a development that has led to natural disasters such as cyclones and dry spells. To lessen the loss of woodlands, the 2017-2027 National Charcoal Strategy is emphasizing, among others, adoption and use of efficient, cleaner, and environmentally friendly fuels such as gas. Well, Frank Kapesa tells the story of a subsistence farmer in Nkhoma in Lilongwe converting cow dung into cooking gas.
In Lilongwe, villagers except Peter Stefano and his family rely on firewood for cooking. In 2022, the Stefano family abandoned firewood and turned into biogas.
Biogas ndi chipangizo chophikira mwachangu zedi.
Cooking using biogas is very efficient. It takes little time to prepare food. Depending on how many people you're preparing sima for, normally it's around 10 minutes to have the sima. As for relish, it takes between 15 and 20 to prepare. Again, with firewood, the pots are dated by the soot from the firewood. You have to spend a lot of time making the cooking utensils look clean. But when using biogas, the pots are not stained as biogas is smoke-free. This lessens our work to clean the pots, and the time saved is using doing other activities.
This masonry brick biogas septic tank is what made Stefano abandon firewood altogether. This tank is made with simple materials: a PVC black tarpaulin, a gas holder, a pump, and pipes which pass the gas onto the kitchen. This plant cost the Stefanos 650,000 kwacha to install. This is a routine he and his wife Bernice does every other 3 days. The dung is first mixed with water into the biogas reception area, then crushed and broken down into smaller liquid particles, which are then fed into the digester covered by this black coating. The liquid gas goes through fermentation to produce gas, which is then pumped into and transported through this pipe to the kitchen for cooking. This plant, says Stefano, does not need too much of dung.
I use a 20-liter pail of fresh cow dung to produce enough gas for 3 days. I don't go around looking for dung. I collect it in my kraals right here from the dairy cows I'm keeping.
I have 3 of them, and each one of them gives me enough dung to keep the plant running. I feed my cows right here in their kraals. I do not let them out, so the dung is collected at one point. Every morning, I collect the fresh dung from each kraal and keep it in one place. Combined, the 3 produce enough dung for reserve, so much that there's never been a day I run out of fresh dung.
Teleru ineyo ndiwauza azathu amene alozungulira kunoko kuti kumbali ya system imeneyi ndi yabwino kwambiri.
I want to encourage you to have this biogas plant. It is efficient and reliable. Besides, it is very affordable and animal dung is readily available. You can use all sorts of plant waste and animal dung, be it goat's poo, chicken droppings, and pig dung. So you don't have to own a cow to have a biogas plant. Again, these biogas plants come in different sizes. I installed mine at 650,000 kwacha.
The gas generated will last 3 days, and to keep the inflows, they will be back with new inflows of liquid dung. Overall, the gas produced is enough gas to meet all their cooking requirements. Bernice is the happier of the two. She has forgotten all about firewood and its stories.
Life is far much better with biogas. Before, we traveled long distance fetching firewood and spent so much money buying the wood. Money that otherwise would have been invested in other endeavors like village saving loans and groups where the money earns interest. Now that we're no longer spending on firewood, I'm investing in shares and hope that by the end of the year, I'll have a lot of money. Again, as I said, biogas cooks faster. I have no problems preparing my children for school. I ensure that bath water is warm and that their breakfast is prepared and taken in good time so they don't report for classes late. Unlike biogas, using fuel wood is cumbersome, slower, and inconveniencing. You can be on time, and at the time of using firewood, our children were often late for classes. That is now history. Right now, they are about to knock off, and 10 minutes after they arrive home, they will have their meal.
Perhaps the biggest beneficiaries are these children. They are the students of Kalirambewa Primary School. 10-year-old Happy Stefano says since the family turned to biogas, they are always on time. The biogas plant also produces slurry, a byproduct rich in nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium nutrients which Stefano uses to fertilize his crops. Dung from a single cow is enough to keep a plant this size running. The excess he collects is used as organic manure for his crops. As for the future, Stefano plans to build a larger biogas plant so he can connect all the houses in the compound.
I want to connect these 5 houses to biogas. My brother's house over there and those others belonging to my sisters. I want that by next year they should be using gas. As I explained, this is a smaller biogas plant meant for one house only. I want to upgrade to a much bigger plant which can take in more houses. I have enough dung to sustain such a bigger plant. As I said, this biogas plant uses dung from just one kraal, which means I have enough dung to go for a much bigger plant.
For those stuck to using firewood, Stefano has this advice: migrate to biogas.
Now, Across Malawi, animal dung, which is the major material for biogas, is readily available. In pastoralist areas like Nsanje, Chikwawa and Mzimba, cow dung is dotted everywhere the cattle graze. So, could these biogas plants be replicated at a larger scale to save our forests? We spoke to the Director of Operations at World Vision, Charles Chimombo. He says what Peter Stefano Zua is doing can be replicated at a larger scale.
Let me begin by saying that as World Vision, our aim is to improve the well-being of children in Malawi. And we, being a Christian organization, we have a vision that is taken from the gospel, from the book of John, verses 10 to 10, where Jesus is saying, I've come to give you life, and not just life, but life in all its fullness. Now, the vision for World Vision International is our vision for every child, life in all its fullness. And for us to be able to achieve that, there are 4 important elements that we look at. We look at children should be well nourished, children should enjoy good health, children should be educated for life, and also children should be protected, cared for, and participate in issues that affect their lives. Now, we know that for this to happen, children come from families. And for these children to enjoy these child well-being aspirations, it means that the families should have secure livelihoods. And in secure livelihoods, we are looking at maybe 3 or 4 things. We are looking at a family where children who live in those families, they are well nourished, but also they are food secure. Number 2, we are looking for families that can generate income to be able to to live a good life. But also, thirdly, we are looking for families that are resilient. And under resilience, we are looking at families that are able to care for the environment. For a family to be a livelihood secure, it means that they are living in an environment that is also protected. In Malawi, we know that we are suffering, or we have challenges of environmental degradation, deforestation, and all that. And I know that not many people in Malawi have access to electricity. Maybe less than 10% of Malawians have access to electricity. And that is also straining on our natural environment. That is why in Nkhoma, where we went to that particular household, we see a person that is trying to address that by using a biogas. So in that way, we see that our environment is protected. By doing that, that person is able to provide well for their family, and then we can hope that the children in that family can enjoy life in all its fullness, like I've explained. You also appreciate that World Vision works with a sister organization called Vision Fund. So we have an approach which we call a graduation approach, where we are graduating people from being very poor to where they can now thrive. So when we start working with families, we are giving them handouts in the beginning, but with time, we help them to have a mindset change and appreciate that they can no longer be on handouts. They can graduate from poverty to being, better citizens of the community. So, like the case of Peter, he is a person that we started with him from the bottom, and then later on, he was able to get access to credit from our sister organization called Vision Fund. And using that credit, he was able, and also using the mindset change, which we call empowered worldview, he was able to see what was necessary at his household. And one of the things was to say, okay, I can stop cutting trees for fuel. I can have a biogas system using the money that I've gotten from Vision Fund, and also using the capacity or the skills that he got from World Vision, which we call empowered worldview. And now you see that the guy was able to purchase or set up a biogas system at his household. And that's what we would expect or would love to see, that many households are doing the same. In that way, we can prevent environmental degradation and maybe ensure that environment is protected.
As an organization, that should leave you very happy.
Very. But we'll be even more happy when we have more Peters in a village like that one, and also more villages in Malawi who can do that. Because as you can see, there isn't any magic there. The guy is only using, ordinary resources like cow dung and a little bit of a system there, which people that are empowered, they will be able to purchase that from providers, because at that moment they are now almost in business. As you saw, Peter is also doing some other businesses from scratch. Now he is an entrepreneur, and that is why you see that his mind is completely open. There's a whole change or transformation of his mind, and that's how he's aiming higher. One of the things is to do a biogas. But that biogas plant can also be used by several other households within the same community. So it is possible that one biogas plant from one household can be used by several other households around in the same community. And I think that's where we would like to see that our communities are doing that. Instead of having each one of them having their own plant, there's so much gas at that one household, which can be also used by other households in the community.
In pastoralist areas like Sanje, Chikwawa, and several other places in this country, we see a lot of dung just being wasted. You think this dung can be put to good use?
Absolutely so. And I think, because World Vision works in specific areas, but this is something that we can work with other partners and see, even the government, and see how that initiative can be scaled up. And if that was the case, in districts like Chikwawa and Sanje, they have so much resource as far as cow dung is concerned, even in areas like Karonga and also Chitipa, where we work. Even in areas like Mulanje and Palombe, we still also have some cows that can be used. So I think it's an initiative that partners can come in, and even the government, and see how that can be scaled up. But we are happy that it is working somewhere else. And I think we are not going to be experimenting going forward. It's just a matter of scaling up. If every village had their own biogas plant, even one biogas plant per village could service all the households in that particular village. The same way we do with the water. We have one borehole, people come and use the same one borehole for the same village. We could just replicate that system for every other village. And I think that would just solve most of the challenges that we face as far as environmental degradation is concerned.
And well, on that note, we end this edition of Beyond the Headlines. So lovely having you. As usual, we are excited to hear from you on any of the stories we carry. Be free to drop your comments on MBC Facebook page or WhatsApp the number scrolling below. I'm Jane Gogodas. Thanks for watching. See you again next week.